I want to get back to that breaking news, that report from the Wall Street Journal that Qualcomm has approached Intel about a possible deal in recent days. Our John Fort joins me now. John, you certainly know this company as well as anybody does, and you know the somewhat precarious position that Intel has found itself in over the past few years and how it's tried to deal with this AI revolution and wanting to be a critical part of it. What do you think about this report you've heard?
Yeah, Scott, it is a tough spot that Intel's in. And I have reached out to Qualcomm. I haven't heard back. Did just get off the phone a few minutes ago with Patrick Moorhead, who's an analyst who I actually met when he was working for AMD. So he's up on chips and other things as well. Look, don't know whether or not this report pans out. But when I first saw the headline or heard about the headline, my reaction was, well, this is one of the few deals that could actually be allowed to happen, because Qualcomm not only has a market cap right now that is about roughly twice where Intel's is, it's also a big U.S. Chip industry player. Now, Qualcomm does not do chip manufacturing. Intel's manufacturing business is the big spot where it's having the difficulty and where it's pouring billions of dollars in. And then, of course, the U.S. government, through the CHIPS Act, has begun supporting that. They haven't delivered the money yet, but they have promised it. Qualcomm and Intel do compete in PC chips, but of course, Intel's a lot bigger in that space than Qualcomm is. Intel has a lot of business in data center. It's losing share there, but it's there. Qualcomm doesn't. So there's minimal overlap, but a lot of this, as Pat Moorhead was just saying to me on the phone, would depend from a regulatory perspective on how regulators define the market. But these are both domestic companies. They are champions in their own ways. Qualcomm initially on mobile technology, now expanding into automotive, IoT, and PCs. Intel squarely in PCs and somewhat data center, having trouble with that business and the manufacturing business. Both are focused on AI being the future, but doing that from slightly different perspectives. Again, Qualcomm more on mobile and industrial, and Intel really trying with its Gaudi chips to build up a competitor to NVIDIA. Also doing some of that on the PC side. So I think, that's why you see Intel right now up 7.5% or so on just this possibility. But there are very few companies, Scott, who I think would both have the incentive and the means, right, from a market cap or cash perspective, to talk to Intel about this.
It was just this week, if I recall, I think at the beginning of the week, where Intel made the announcement of turning its foundry business, John, into a subsidiary and then taking outside funding. I mean, I guess that, you could tell me better, underscores how Pat Gelsinger and the management team at Intel are trying to be transformative for their own business as we move into the future here.
It does, and it also underscores the amount of pressure that Pat Gelsinger and Intel's board are under. Look, they were right about the demand for chips into the future and the need for domestic manufacturing. I think what they didn't see coming is the enormous success of NVIDIA and the shift of business away from CPUs, where Intel specializes, toward GPUs, where NVIDIA specializes. So as they're spending these tens of billions of dollars to stand up manufacturing capability to satisfy, that demand for domestic chips, for AI chips, their revenue is suffering on the other side at the same time. Pat Gelsinger also here on CNBC exclusively at the beginning of this week said they're trying to keep design and manufacturing together, even though they're structuring from a governance perspective the foundry business as a subsidiary within Intel. And I can tell you, a couple years ago when I held a gathering of some CEOs who I know pretty well, both Cristiano Amon, the CEO of Qualcomm, and Pat Gelsinger, the CEO of Intel, flew in, and really they wanted to talk to each other on the side during that gathering. That's part of the reason why they were there. And Qualcomm is one of the big potential customers for foundry, right? So they have a need to diversify their sourcing in chips, whether that is part of what would be attractive about Intel on top of the other IP Intel has. We don't know, Scott. At least I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe they've been speaking, according to these reports, once again. John, I appreciate it. Thank you. You catch John, of course, in overtime in about 20 minutes. I'm sure he'll have more insight into this breaking story. The Wall Street Journal once again reporting that Qualcomm has approached Intel in recent days about a possible deal. You see Intel shares up 6-7%. We'll follow.